Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today I wanted to share with you how I built this simple DIY overhead garage storage system. So the system features a raising and lowering set of shelves and can be put together in just a few hours. So I'll show you how I built it, as well as show you how I use it for storage and for drying out wet gear. So if this sounds like fun, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first let me show you the problem. So we just got back from playing in the snow and I have a ton of stuff that I need to hang up and dry. So you've got jackets, pants, kids' gloves, boots, all this kind of stuff. Now I keep it all here in the garage because I do have a fairly large dehumidifier, which actually does work to actually bring the humidity down and basically dry everything out in the garage. So it works to dry things out here in the garage. The only problem is, see, I'm stuck with just, hanging things up wherever I can find space. You see, I've got gaiters hanging up on over here. It's just pretty darn ugly. And then, you have to leave it here for a couple of days. So I went on a mountain bike ride also, a few days later. So now I've got mountain biking gear. Heck, I've got to dry out this entire bike after cleaning it off. So this is a non-optimal solution of just scattering things around the garage. While it definitely works, it takes up the entire garage bay, as you can see. So the plan is, can we get all of this stuff here off of the ground? And in fact, I even have other junk that I just keep in the garage. For example, there, my stockpile of toilet paper there, and other random stuff. They're just sitting here taking up valuable floor space. So I want some other way to get all of this stuff to be able to be dried, as well as just clear off some space. So if you look, right, there is a ton of overhead, just empty space. So sure, normally one car would sit here, kind of like we've got one car sitting here, but there's all this stuff on the top of the garage. So the plan of attack is, let's see if we can get a couple of shelves that lift up and down so we can put everything way up high, leave it there for days to dry out, and get stuff out of the way. All right, so my plan is actually to use this. This is a 6-shelf storage unit. As you can see, each shelf is 48 inches wide by 18 inches sort of deep. And again, this whole thing stands 72 inches high, but I'm not going to stand it up in a shelf configuration. I only want each individual shelf because what I want to do is I'm going to turn them upside down and use them as the trays that I'm going to lift up to the ceiling. So that's the plan of attack. So again, this thing was pretty reasonable. I think I paid about $90 from this from your local, home improvement store. So let's go ahead and get this out of the box and see what those shelves look like. All right, so I got all the shelves out of the box, and let's take a look at them. So this is what they look like. Pretty nice. Although they normally install this way as a shelf, but I'm actually going to want to flip this thing upside down, so I have more of like kind of a basket sort of setup. Okay, so that's the plan. The other thing, I don't know why they had all these little plastic things on the. I think these are used for the shelving configuration. They actually seem to be pretty fragile. If you look, many of them they're busted, they broke during transit, but I'm not going to need these. I'm going to take all these out. Actually, they just kind of sit there. They're not even press fit in. The edge is actually quite smooth, so I don't think I need to worry about, by the time I put my paracord through these holes to hold the entire shelf up, I think it'll be fine. So let's do that. Let's pop off all these plastic guys, and then the next thing that we're going to want to do is, I've kind of got them laid out in this sort of 3 and 3 setup. So we're going to want to put these on the ceiling. So I think what we're going to need to do is, let's go ahead, go grab our stud finder and find out where all the ceiling joists are, so we can go ahead and screw in some pieces of 2x4 into the ceiling, which we can then use to mount the pulleys. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so we've got the 2x4 screwed into the ceiling. So now we're going to go ahead and mount some of these screw eyes. So these are just these really simple, 3/4 inch by 3 inch screw eyes. So let's go ahead and drill a couple holes for these and then screw them into the 2x4 on the ceiling. All right, right, so the next step is to actually get the pulleys up there mounted on those screw eyes. So in order to do that, I'm going to use these quick links. So again, the set I'm using right here, you know, the quick links are really pretty darn simple. Again, they're these 1/8 inch quick links, and then I'm using this 1.25 inch pulley. Now, the only problem with these is I ordered them online and kind of sight unseen, so they don't fit exactly correctly. Meaning, so again, the quick link, you know, is this nice little link that you can unscrew this to open it up, and now it doesn't quite fit. Oh wait, there, barely. Okay, it just barely fits. I got it that time, but in order to get it onto the screw eye up there, the screw eye is a little bit thicker than this, so it is a little bit of a job to try to get it on there. So I did have to bend it ever so slightly. So I just got a pair of vice grips, you know, and just grabbed onto this and bent it ever so slightly to get it on, and then bent it back and then screwed it shut. So you can see one of the finished ones is already up there. But anyway, that's how we're going to get the pulley onto the screw eye. So let's go ahead and finish the rest of them for the piece that's up there. All right, so I've got one of them rigged up. So as you can see, this goes up to the pulleys, which then go over to this other pulley in the corner, which then the rope finally comes down, and I just secured it to the wall just using some of these 5.5 inch galvanized dock cleats. So yeah, that's the way this is set up. One thing I did have to do is I did try to adjust this so that the shelf is level. But otherwise, I think it's working. Why don't we go ahead and see if this will rise up and down. All right, so here it is on the floor. So all we need to do is just kind of grab these and then just pull. There we go. Yep, and then you get it to whatever height you want. And then I guess we can just tie it off on the dock cleat. There you go. Seems pretty stable. Yeah, see, look at that. Okay, let's go ahead and put on another one of these shelves right next to it. All right, so as you can see, I've repeated it for all 6 of these shelves. So now I've got 6 units up here on the top of the garage ceiling using our pulley system. So I think next step before we go ahead and load them all up and test it all out is let's go and take this opportunity to paint all of these 2x4s white to match the ceiling. All right, so I've got these loaded up just to test to see how it works. So while it does work, one of the issues is that notice how wide the angle is between these 2 lines when they come into a single pulley, all right? Now the issue is because it's so wide, in some situations, like for example, this one right here, you can kind of see that one of the paracord ropes has jumped outside the track. So when you try to lower or raise the shelf here, this cord will get stuck between the pulley wheel and the housing of the pulley. So again, that occurs because this angle is pretty wide. So one solution is to kind of bring these together a little bit like this, okay? So that the 2 paracord lines are fed smoothly and together into the pulley wheel. So to do that, what we're going to do is let's see if we can go take some more of our good old 3/4 inch by 3 inch screw eyes, and we're going to try to mount one of them kind of out here, okay? So that will collect these 2 paracord lines together before they head into the pulley, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and mount another 2x4 over here. Then we'll mount a series of these screw eyes to feed each pair of ropes together before going to each of the pulleys. All right, so as you can see, I've got them all collected now going through the screw eyes, and this works much better. For example, now if you look at these, at the angle coming into the pulley, it's much straighter. So you basically don't have that issue now when you're trying to raise or lower it. All the paracord lines stay within the channel and the grooves of the pulley. All right, so this looks a lot better. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this whole thing loaded up and try it out. All right, so here is all of our junk from our latest trip up to the mountains, and it's all wet and needs to get dried out and stored somewhere other than the floor of the garage. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's see if we can get all of this stuff loaded onto our newly constructed overhead garage storage. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try. So I've got one of these loaded up with a somewhat heavier load. You can see I've actually actually got one of the snow chains on this shelf, so it does weigh a little bit more. I also wanted to show one of the great things about having this thing being able to raise and lower easily is that I can, on the ground, load it up with heavy items, then raise it a couple feet off the ground like this, and then it's easy to do things like clipping on jackets or other things that might dangle below the rack. You can do this all nicely at kind of, workable levels. And then all we need to do is just come on over and give this a try, and then look at that, no problem. It just pulls, and it's up, out of the way, and then all we need to do is just tie it off on the dock cleat, like such, and there you have it. Okay, so since that works so well, let's take all this other junk here and get it up on all the other racks. All right, I know this looks a little bit like a hot mess, but check it out, it's working. I got everything up there off the garage floor and on the ceiling. So I got, ski boots, backpacks, we got tire chains over here, and then I'm able to hang up other kind of wet things off the side to dry out. So I got, all of our gaiters here, got jackets, got ski gloves, got helmets, got everything. So again, this is great. So everything is now, instead of taking up the entire garage bay floor, it's taking up the entire garage bay ceiling, which leaves enough room here to hopefully get the car in. So let's go and see if the car will fit with all of this junk sitting on the roof. I should also mention that the thing that makes this entire drying system work is actually this dehumidifier. So I've got this large dehumidifier in the garage, and during the winter when it's wet, this thing is pretty much running 24/7, and it works amazingly well. I basically just got it set up so that the drain is right here, and as you can see, it just drips water. Actually, there you go, drip, drip. So you can see it's actually extracting a fair bit of water, and it just dumps it here into this utility sink. And again, this thing works awesome. It dries out the entire two-car garage quite well. So, you'll drive in here out of the rain, the entire car will be soaked, but you leave it in here for just overnight, and it will dry off the entire car. So I've tried it multiple times now with this entire drying setup, and this works, like I said, amazingly well. You give this thing maybe 24 hours or 48 if you really want to be cautious, and it will literally dry everything out on these racks, and you can come back and have nice, clean, dry equipment when you need it. All right, so there you have it, a handmade DIY garage roof storage / drying system that I've been using now for about 6 months, for about one fall and winter season, and it's been working out great. It is so nice to not have to take up an entire garage bay with all of your gear drying out for multiple days on end. Instead, you can reclaim all of that space and then get all of this drying done out of the way on the ceiling of the garage, where you've got all the other space still usable. So like I said, I really like it. It's saved me a lot of headache and a lot of clutter management, and I really think it's a pretty useful system. That being said, I was a little surprised how much I ended up spending on this in terms of dollars. So at first, when I saw the 6-tier metal storage shelves, and I saw that, it was like $110, and I thought, oh, that's great, man. By the time I divide that into, making 6 individual shelves, that's going to be like, I don't know, about $20 a shelf. That's not bad at all, right? However, I was caught a little bit flat-footed by the price of like the pulleys and the linkages and the screw eyes. By the time you add all this up right here, in fact, I'll flash up. Here's all of the expenses that all the items items and their costs and expenses for this entire 6-shelf drying system that I made. And as you can see, it's over $315 for all of these. So it's now, instead of $20 per shelf, it's more like $50 a shelf, which is now, again, a little bit iffy. I'm not sure if I would have done this again if I had known up front how much this would all cost going into it. But like I said, I think over the long term, it's definitely something that's going to make me a lot more sane in terms of during the winter season when you need to dry all this junk out, not needing to eat up half of your garage to do so. So, with that being said, I think this is probably a great spot to leave it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, I also hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Surprisingly, if you just scroll a little ways down and click on that subscribe button, it really does help me continue to make these videos. And remember, the new videos come out every Monday, so I hope we'll have more fun projects like this on the docket coming up in the future, and I hope I'll catch you at one of them. So, until we talk again, I think I'll sign off. Talk to you later. Bye.